Well, hello and welcome back to All My Art and Soul, mixed media abstract, start to finish, and these are the last layers. So it's just a couple of last layers and I can always tell when they slow down, and there's definitely just some more thinking about those final elements. And me right now, I'm trying not to overcrowd. And these turned out pretty well. They're getting closer to what it is I'm looking for my inner landscape series. And as I said in the previous video, if you have not seen part one of Mixed Media Abstract start to finish, you can check it out right here. I'll leave the card in the upper right hand corner, as I always do or try to during a 3 or 4 part. And I forget, this might be part 4, part 5, but it's the final one, and then we're moving on to color. So these are definitely, these three have been, and I love that they're more challenging for me because I'm pushing myself towards this feeling, this inner image that I've had for a long time. And as I'm building up knowledge, mark making experiences, layer experiences, and just more knowledge of composition, and all of that stuff comes into play, but during an intuitive process. So I'm trying to do my analyzing after my session, my intuitive my art process. And so as you can see, that paper there, which was a hand-painted one right here, on, I think, the deli wrap. It's a very thin, it could be a tracing paper, very similar. Not tracing paper, tissue paper, sorry about that. And you can see here that that's a piece of rice paper. It's slightly thicker, and I put it over my stenciling, that new Stencil Girl stencil that I've been using a lot. And just because it's rectangular, but it's organic, and it has this flow that I'm looking for. And I'm looking into other ways to capture those marks. So this is the turquoise from Liquitex, and the color palette is in the comment section below, so check that out. And yellow ochre, nickel Azo Gold, parchment, and there's that piece again. Now, it's closer, it's getting better, but it just is too much weight for this particular piece, but I really love that. So that reminds me to make some more of those just collages on, forget what that paper was. It wasn't newsprint because it's a little thicker. I think it was a drawing or sketching paper. And I'm loving this asymmetrical kind of composition. I don't know if it's in let's see, 1, 2, 3, like fifths areas with the weight on the side. I think what I'll do after this is done, and I let them sit around, I'll think about that kind of composition, and that the quadrants, cruciform really is another word for it, and just see if that's what's missing, the final pieces or detail or definition. So actually clarification is the proper term. And you see, sometimes it gets too hilly, if you know what I mean. So that could be going on here. And then it's sort of, that's what I'm looking for, but I don't want it so obvious. And yeah, see, right away. And I think I've talked about this in other mixed media abstract works. So just check them out. I have quite a few now. I forget how many, over 150 videos. So, and they're all categorized. So I will leave the video selection here, the playlist of mixed media abstracts, and you can peruse through that. And again, or yet, if you just found my channel, I'm an abstract mixed media artist is what I consider myself, but I love abstract. And that's where I'm headed. We do art journaling, affirmation art journaling, abstract art journal pages, and everything mixed media with collage. So this piece of black and white over the center is very interesting, but I can see that it's very busy, especially with everything that's going on. So let's see what we end up doing here. Those half circles that are across, they remind me of, phases, time, any kind of timeline, celestial time or whatever. That's sort of the idea, because I use them a lot, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is. I love where this blue is, but I think I'm going to add a black to the very bottom piece instead of the yellow, just to give it that much more weight, since there's a lot of black in these three paintings. Adding some lime and orange, being careful not to do too much. So when you're in a situation like this, you need to choose to quiet down different areas. So something's got to be covered up. And I know this is a huge discussion. Oh, but I love this. And I'm like, yes, we do. But for the whole piece as a whole to evolve, things we need to learn to let go. And that's what I'm learning. So I'm still fooling around with this piece. Again, this is sort of an asymmetrical kind of composition here. I like the idea of the center blackish gray going across. So you have this interweaving kind of feeling with the vertical ochre band there. But it's still very busy. So, and I know this while I'm doing this piece. So that's what can happen when you're building up about 4 layers or so, 3 or 4 or 5 layers, depending on what the layers are. I'm trying, next time I am not going to start collage so early, because then it tends to get very, very busy. And then you end up having to cover up really lovely pieces of collage. And I just want to save those for accents in the later layers. So that's what I'm deciding. What about you? Experimenting with color palettes. I'm still having fun with this one. Next blue is going to be teal, so it's a lot lighter. And cerulean, which I'm working with in next week's video, so it's a whole different feel and a whole different start. It gets a little iffy, so stay tuned for next week. We're starting a new color series. And as you can see, the nickel Azo Gold is great for glazing. And I think I do take down that black and white horizontal band in the top. Yes, and it just calms it down, because that was really super high contrast there. So the eye is now moving around from that point or that area and enjoying this little, oh yes. So this one is okay. It's still a little large, in ratio or scale, But since it's such just a subtle value, I just leave it there and I'm just going to let it dry. And I may or may not paint over it or peel it off. And knowing this really helps you explore more. Okay, not bad, but I really love the orange down there. So this is where I'm going to put it. No. Nope, 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 nope. And so I'm feeling that I need some more shapes, but I am going to develop my shapes early on with layers of paint and overlapping and soft edges and all of that sort of thing differently from this. And this piece here is just scrapbooking pattern paper, and I love the neutral or the brown, the natural kind of, you see right there, I was going to put that and it got too busy. So right away when I put that orange piece, which is a solid color, it's calming the bottom down. But that isn't necessarily going to stay that way, but it's definitely working better than being so busy. And these pieces really got busy quickly, and I would have to say with the line and starting with the collage and marks, which are great, but maybe some more solid colors, different values and texture, I think would have worked better. But, this is hindsight, and this is what we're learning. And these are, it's sort of a thicker printing, heavy paper. It's sort of a neutral color, and I trim them down to 8" by 8". So later on, I may or may not, depends if I like them, if they have staying power or not, mount them on 8x8 cradle board. And I've done that to a lot of my work, and it looks fabulous. So you can choose to put it in a floater frame. They can just hang just the way they are. Sometimes I trim them with black, but I like the natural wood of the cradle board to show, just with a little bit of black trim. And yes, so that's looking good. And of course, that's the medium, and it'll dry clear. Still thinking that bottom bit is too busy. So will I go with the teal blue color or black? So let's see. Yes, and my marks with the pencil, not too many, so they're very subtle. Okay, so I'm letting that one rest. And that is the joy of working on more than one piece. Okay, so no, that's a definite no, no, no. So I forget what it is. Oh yeah. So I decide to leave that alone because I like the subtleness of it, and I'm going to add some more parchment to it. Thinking about that bottom, and I love it. I do believe I use black. Oh yes, that's what I do. I use a piece of black collage. And what I love is that it's the one edge is wavy and torn, and then the other edge is absolutely straight and crisp. And right away, you see it calms it down, adds that weight on the bottom. I do think black paint would have worked just as well, if not better, because it was darker and heavier, which emulated that top organic black shape in the upper orange area. So that's looking so much better. Now these are very, after you let a piece sit around for a day or two, then you can really look at it more objectively. And that is my motto. So I'm just taking out that little edge that's torn. I'm just wanting it to be a little bit straighter. There we go. And even if I wore off the paint, which is black, I could have just went in there and fixed it. So the alcohol spray, and I noticed I love this shape that I could never have thought of. And I just need another layer over that gold piece. It's a metallic. Now that's okay, but there's already enough waves in there. So what I end up putting in or on top is a nice solid piece of that ochre. That's much better. Much better. So now it's relating to that orange on the top. I don't know, that piece is really okay. So now we're going to finish up with some more layers. So I did this today, so this is really fresh in my mind. And they sat around for a couple of days. And so you see, when I walk by, I'll leave my collage, of course, out, because when you have a spot just for your art, that's the handy thing. You can go by it every once in a while and just see what catches your eye or not, or you want to change. So this nice solid piece, and I'm liking the torn edge with a subtle, higher, brighter orange on top of it. And then some words, some text, which I love taking out of. And I'm liking that old typewriter font, or at least my own. But it's funny, I don't like my printing for my art. I like using stencils because they have a shape. And there's that one. So I ended up putting that in. But what I do is I push it back with some more neutral parchment on the top of those black wavy lines. This is a hand-crafted paper again, the dark gray. So I thought it might really get thin when I put it on and disappear, and it did. So it's perfect. But it's just adding that subtlety. So usually in the last layer or two, you're thinking about subtlety, line, movement of the eye around your piece, clarifying, interesting values, and some last-minute differences. So this is a really, that's a paper collage with the blue circles on it. So I'm just adding a little bit more high gloss just to protect it. So I decided that, of course, that all that brown and everything on the top just isn't working. Of course, a solid yellow the yellow ochre may have worked, now that I think about it. Yeah. So my yellow ochre is almost done. And I realize, I don't know, my art store, where I go, Curry's art store that is south of where I am, is closed. It's like, what? So now I'll really have to order on Amazon or go to Michael's. Gee, it's getting tough with the art supplies here. Oh well, we'll just use what we have. They're expensive enough. Okay. So, would parchment have worked? More a solid yellow on the top. Too much contrast with the blue and the yellow. So I think what I choose to do is darken the teal a bit with some black. And this is the turquoise, the turquoise, not the teal. This is the Liquitex turquoise. There it is. I finally realized, hey, I better move my... And I'm liking some more blue. So I put it in, I lighten it up, and then I add some black just to gray it down a bit. And I realize, oh, the more black I added, it looked better, because this particular tone and the way I did the edges isn't working. And the darker I go, the better it looks. So I'm really excited to start my new series. And I'm really liking the texture in that orange area there. And that started with, you can start with a thick layer of white. Gesso works the best, I think, even on paper. It just has a lot of, it strengthens up the paper, and you can scrape and rub across it more to add that if you're going to add a glaze right after your gesso layer. So I'm going to keep that in mind. On wood, on canvas, or paper, it wouldn't matter. It does the same thing. It's pretty cool. It has to be thoroughly dry though, so you can rub it off. And I usually use spray the alcohol on a damp rag. So I'm going to do the same thing. So there you go. See that orange that we loved? Now it's gone. It just wasn't working. So you start with a small amount, and then that's why I'm pausing. And nope, whole thing's got to be blue. So then I realize, oh, so here's a nice base. So scraping or scratching through so you can see a little bit underneath. Then I notice that blue dot up there, but then it just turns into a blue blob, so I change that. And that's a good thing, to have your gloss layer on top of your collage so you can experiment. Don't know what I was thinking. It's ridiculous. I took a closer look. Just sometimes you get into this flow and you just try things, of course, and then you go, what am I doing? So that's okay. So that piece of orange wasn't working. It's still too busy. So I'm going darker, and I'm trying to pick up a similar blue to that piece of collage that is there. But I don't want it so close. It's looking better. And just sort of trying to add a little texture and variance in the value of the blue there. So lightening that up a bit, just so there's some gradation where it goes light to medium to dark. It just changes as you go down or up. There, it's better already. Not bad. I don't know if I like it, but that's what we're doing. We're just trying things out. So this is totally exploratory. So I will have these. If I like them, I will put them on my site, and I know I still haven't put those other ones up. I really got to get going with that. There's so much to do. And I've got to be really, really happy with my stuff before I put them up on my website. So check it out. The link is in the comment section below, along with everything else, my store, my affirmation, the 30-day challenge. So they're all in prints. They're available. So many different sizes and prices, different art products out of those. I'm in the middle of making art scarves right now, and some really neat things. So, liking this, trying to decide if I like it closer to the parchment, which is better because it's more subtle. And then then I say, okay, let's do some more. Covering the collage. Whoops, sorry. I hit my microphone. Not bad, but I do end up, yes, adding more, going lighter and covering up, just pushing those lines back a bit more. So the feel is there, but they're not so contrasty, and erasing or rubbing that off definitely is working. So, done. Leave it. So it speaks to you. I have nothing more to say. I am done. So then I realize, oh, okay, let's do a little bit of this over this area. So you got to be careful. So I'm trying my color shaper. I know it's not going to do the same thing because it glides it around and moves the paint in a different way. I'm liking the blue. Oh, so I'm realizing just picking up some texture. So this is actual physical texture. Yes. See, just that. Now the eye goes across without overdoing it. That's the key. Oh, very nice. Sorry, my head's in the way. Okay. So I may have overdone it with the lines. That's the China marker. Not bad. And then I realized, whoa, that's enough. No lines down there. And then I go, oh no. So I'm just picking up that line that I realized. Much better. Okay. A little bit of carrying that orange in and around. Yeah, has a neat feel to it. And you might actually just like areas of your piece. And it's really good even with your phone to take a close-up, and I'm going to remember, that's why I'm saying it now, to remember to take a close-up and then store that in your file, especially if you have an exploratory work for a series. And that's what I'll be doing. So, wow, this has been another little journey. I realize, that was on the back of the previous painting, the little 8x8 there that I found. So of course I was looking, no, it doesn't work there. It doesn't even work on this piece, so I'm moving along. Nope, nothing more to say, we're good. Nope. Too literal, too much. So I think, okay, so it's very close to that shape. No, maybe there, not there. Okay, let's see. This is so funny. I love this. What will work? No. I ended up putting it there. Okay, good. I moved it where the black and white is. You don't even see it anyway. We'll see. And here comes some pencil line. I'm really liking that piece. I'm not sure about the stuff on the left, but I can always cover that up with some black. And just a few lines here. So you have drawing elements, collage, stenciling, glazing, transparency, opacity, and you can still see, I made a little mark there, so I'm just trying to cover that up. So there we go. And it didn't need any more dots, these pieces, even though I started to put them in there. It's just, no, we're good. And I just wanted to carry that line across without being too busy, pushing it back. Rather interesting. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping you're enjoying this little series. Mixed Media Abstract, start to finish, final layers. Oh, it's been quite the journey. Now, this is the part where I change. So stick to the end and you'll see. I don't show it on the video because it was a last minute decision. I should have left this black. So as you can see, you can get into a mode of, if this worked there, then it'll work here. And it carried more orange, where the ratio of the orange to black was better as it was earlier, having more black than orange there, or ochre. So interesting. So I find a piece of collage that has way more yellow in it, and I put it on, and it is the coolest, I think. It's different. I think the three still work together, but I'm really not worried about that at this point. This is really experimental, and getting my head in the way again. I've got to watch that. I don't usually do that, but I'm definitely liking parts of these and the feel of them. So, okay. So the eyes, yes. And of course, it needed a piece of collage, which was a lot more opaque and lighter in value, but still a very subtle difference as a sort of an anchor up above there. So I only needed a little strip. This is the deli paper, and I printed this on my jelly plate printer, just with different texture. And just getting the wrinkles out there or any bubbles, bringing down more of that lighter, opaque tone or value. I'm not sure about those black lines, but I can cover those. Interesting. Very interesting. But you see how that piece of collage counteracts the one on the left? So I realized, remember I said using paint would have been better? And you see that I darkened that? Now your eye goes down there, it's more there. So then I start covering up this area and realize, no, covered up too much, and just swipe some off, and just swipe some off down below. So that's looking not bad. Okay, so here they are, and you can see the texture with the scraping at the very first layers. There's that semi-transparent collage piece, and coming up is, with the last one, I used that, a geometric collage, so it turned out really well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.